105.3 The Fan and the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network present
Touchdown Cowboys!
Dallas Cowboys Football 2025 in crystal clear HD stereo. Today's pregame show is brought to you by
Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Arrow Exterminators, official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
Happy game day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the official pre-game party of your Dallas Cowboys Week 3 edition. Cowboys in Chicago, Soldier Field. This is an all-time color clash, too. When these two uniforms start getting together like this is just classic football to me. I'm fired up.
Would you be surprised if the Bears threw down that orange jersey? Then
that would take me off a little bit.
Then you would be a little upset by that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, keep this thing classic. Keep this thing classic. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion Bryan Broaddus alongside myself, Eric Chiofalo, and we're absolutely loaded here on the pregame show. As always, we'll go behind enemy lines with the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak, here in just a little bit. Dean Blandino talking NFL rules, tush push, and offsetting penalties when it's a 3-1 situation.
Yeah.
We will get into all that good stuff. And then, of course, Bobby Belt live from Chicago, Babe Laughenberg, Christy Scales, the whole nine. Broaddus, happy game day, brother. How you doing?
Happy game day to you as well. Man, already what? Week 3 in this thing?
Yeah, week 3, bro.
Already
week
3. We're going to wake up. It's going to be Thanksgiving. We'll be talking about Kansas City. But no, here we are today. Give me the theme. Give me the theme. Have you thought about the theme for this one?
I always think about the theme, Broaddus, and here's what I'm going with. We had a shock the world game,
right?
Last week we had a handle business game.
They
found a way to do it.
They did handle business.
Got a little bit crazy there for a while, but they got it done. Week 3 in Chicago. This is a no excuses game.
Oh, no excuse. Already week 3, no excuse.
This is a no excuses game. Bears have a rash of injuries, especially on defense.
They do.
They have virtually no running game to speak of other than some quarterback scrambles, right?
By the way, they think they can run the ball today being on Bears radio.
They think DeAndre Swift's got a little something.
They think watch out, they're going to be able to run the ball today.
Well, they do. They're like leading the league in terms of yards before contact.
Yeah,
but they're one of the worst rushing attacks in the league. Because
I reminded all of Olin Kreutz, who was their the All-Pro center,
legendary Olin Kreutz.
Olin Kreutz is telling me how they're going to run the ball, and I'm reminding Olin. I'm like, Olin, they kind of get guys to and through the hole, but how about finishing those runs? He goes, oh, watch today.
This is Jack Sanborn back in Soldier Field, ready to make a name for himself.
I hope you're right.
And Olin Kreutz should know better than to mess with Kenny Clark. I mean, been in that division for how many years now?
Been a long time.
Osa and Kenny Clark just going to be gobbling up that run game.
He could not. He was not very good with Osa Odigizua. He was not.
We got to pull that. I want to hear him say Odigizua.
No, he just went with the Osa part.
Yeah, you have to.
He didn't even try the Odigizua part.
I think that's a veteran play right there by Olin Kreutz.
Very smart play.
So among the reasons why this is a no excuses game, you have the rash of injuries defensively, in particular for the Bears, the lack of a rushing attack we already mentioned. Second-year quarterback with plenty of flaws. We will get to the scouting report on Caleb Williams. You don't lose to a painted fingernail quarterback as well. You have the better quarterback. You have the better running game. And you have a healthier defense. I'm not going to say you have a better defense.
Right.
Because your defense is in a world of trouble here as well, but it is healthier. Plus, you got Brandon Butter Aubrey, who's the best in the business. Also, might I add, you're playing in Chicago in September.
Yeah.
This ain't December, Chicago, crazy cold, disaster football.
Yeah.
The schedule gods blessed you a little bit, and we might have some elements when it comes to the rain.
Right.
But they've been there, done that. This is not a frigid December night game in Chicago that can get away from you. So this is a no excuses play like a champion game. That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I like what you're doing here. No excuse. You need to go in there, but
it's a losable game. But there's no good excuse to lose this football game.
I think both teams on defense are really trying to find themselves. And Chicago's, if you want to use a no excuse, but use an excuse, their health of their defense isn't great. But
absolutely.
But they also have not rushed the passer very well. Very similar to where the Cowboys are right now. So depending on how many dropbacks we see today, you're right about Dallas has the better quarterback. But gosh, don't let this guy run around. Don't let Caleb Williams all of a sudden drop back and then he sees a lane and he takes off. Wolchuk and I were talking about this earlier of like how many situations is it going to be 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and then all of a sudden he runs for 12 yards. And then, don't let that be the difference in today's game.
And so him scrambling obviously is something to be concerned about.
Worries.
What about him running, buying time, getting out of the pocket, and then making a play with the arm? Are you seeing some of that?
See, now he can make some throws. We were talking about in the Minnesota game that he and Rome Odunze, touchdown Rams.
Devontae Adams getting it done. Here we go. Finally, now it's Rams 10, Eagles 7.
Yeah, they did this one. Hey, they got this one on Reed Blankenship. They just ran straight on the safety. I'm glad to see somebody else can't play, with deep halves.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Rams up 10-7. What is that with minute 20 left in the first? So yeah, but this game, when you kind of break it down, that's could be the biggest issue. And will Matt Eberflus? I even brought that up to Chicago radio about Spy, and I heard this chuckle. From the
Oh, really? Yeah.
I'm like, if Matt Eberflus tries to spy, to hear this.
They know Eberflus well enough to know he ain't doing that.
They know Eberflus well enough but I would consider doing it with Donovan Wilson.
I like that.
The one thing that the one thing, and you're talking about throwing the ball on the move and stuff, but Rome Odunze, his ability to get open and their receivers are one of the better teams in the league when it comes to separation. When you talk about the separation of how they're able to run routes, that's a team. They just have not been accurate throwing the football nearly enough to make that happen for them.
One of the things that we're already getting some texts about here in the 817, Dallas coming out flat last week. And we were concerned about that. Those noon home games as a favorite, and we've seen it time and time again with different coaching staffs, hoping the Schottenheimer stuff would be a little bit different, but they came out offensively and just did not look like the offense that we had seen later on in the game or what we had seen the week before in Philadelphia. And they need to start faster because we do know the Bears.
The Bears will start fast. Now, the Bears will completely fall apart after the first 15 plays are called.
It's so funny to see that.
Yeah.
Like, they've been the best team in the league with the scripted plays that first drive or two of the game. And then after that, they become one of the single worst offenses in the league.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fascinating thing to see how this game starts. How does the Cowboys offense get rolling? Because versus Philadelphia, it was well-oiled coming out of the gates hot. It was beautiful. Last week, it was not so much. But the Bears have been consistent through 2 weeks, starting the game offensively.
They have.
Rocking and rolling here.
About almost 8 yards of play on their first possessions of games.
I can't imagine the Eberflus. I mean, if we were doing if this was like an NBA shouting out the lineups and the coach, he would just get a rain of boos, wouldn't he? Walking into that stadium. No love lost there, huh?
I did not get the feeling with the two with Patrick Manley, and then Olin Kreutz that there was much love. And then I think Molly was the guy's name he's got a morning show and he's giving me all kinds of stats. He's like the stat guy. And then Olin Kreutz and Patrick Manley, they're asking the football, the nuts and bolts questions and stuff like that. But I learned something today though that I think the Bears, since 2021, they're talking about the Bears have not won a game where the opponent scored more than 23 points.
Okay, I saw that as well. I came across that stat just kind of getting ready for the show, and I had to double check it because I'm like, is this real?
Yeah.
They haven't won a game in a few years when the opponent scores 23 points.
I think they're 0.
That's the magic number.
I think they're 0-24, 0-25, something like that. I mean, he brought it up, and everybody on their side was groaning, oh, why'd you do that? Kind of a deal.
Yeah, I mean that is so bad. Yeah, here it is from Mark Potash, who noted the Bears are 0-25 since the end of the 2021 season in games in which they allow 23 points or more.
Yeah.
Tough sledding right there in Chicago.
They were kind of talking, it was a race to 23 between the two. I kind of think both teams might get there today.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't, like I say, I hope Dallas comes out and plays with some awareness, some technique.
Some urgency.
Some urgency, some pass rush. I hope they play that way. Don't give this quarterback any hope that he's going to have a good day today throwing the football or running the football.
The creators of Buffalo bring you NFL casino games. Kick off with America's team on and off the reels with Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. All right, we're just getting started here on your Cowboys pregame show. We are under 3 hours to kick off. Let's go live to Soldier Field and go behind enemy lines with the Bears play-by-play man, Jeff Joniak. He joins us next right here on The Fan.
51 yards for Cairo Santos. 2 seconds on the clock. 22-21 Green Bay, middle of the field. Flags are quiet. Daly on the ball to snap it back. Taylor extends his hand, snap, placement made. Cairo Santos, kick is up, and the kick is good! And the Bears have walked off and won in Green Bay, putting to bed 2 nasty losing streaks. The in-season streak and the Packer streak. And the Bears win it 24-22. Cairo Santos, good for 51.
It's time to go behind enemy lines here on the official pregame show of America's team, live at Soldier Field. It's the play-by-play voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak, here on The Fan, as we are now 2 hours and 38 minutes to kick off Week 3 style. Jeff, happy game day, my friend. Thanks for the time. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to talk to you guys as well. Thanks for that highlight. It's been a minute now. I haven't had many wins here lately, so that felt good. I was bracing myself. Which one are they playing? As soon as you said Cairo lining up, I knew it was Packers.
Man, I'll tell you what, we were just kind of in awe about the stat, and with the Bears not having won a game when the opposing team scores 23 points dating back to 2021. I mean, that is just crazy. I guess that's the magic number.
Well, I guess I was unaware of it. Our parabolic mic guy, the affectionately known Little Z, he tells us in the booth, and my broadcast partner Tom Thayer, a Super Bowl winning Bears guards, he doesn't like hearing about all these, especially if it involves the Packers. He's sick of all the math. Yeah. Point differential, winning streaks, lose. He doesn't want to hear it anymore, and it just put us over the edge today. We're like, wait, what? I had no idea. I didn't know that streak. Yeah, that's pretty remarkable when you think about it. So hopefully that ends today. That's a stunning streak. Yeah, there are other ones that I don't even want to regurgitate because there's some big ones. So I might regurgitate. Actually.
No, hey, you can hit us with any type of info on this game. We would love it, but I know it's tough sledding right now in Bears land. Is this like desperation game week 3 already?
You can't. I know everybody, the NFL itself puts out their research notes every week, and it's all this bad math when you're 0-2, you're not, chances of making playoffs or something. You go 0-3, you might as well forget about it. This team has to learn how to win. They have to believe that they can win. And to Ben Johnson's credit, he has never shied away from the idea we want to win, and we want to win now. And you have to start thinking that way. I did an exercise a couple years ago. I don't think I did it. I don't think it was last year. I just, on a random day, getting ready for a game, I went through every player on the roster's record as an NFL player that were on the Bears, and there were like 6 that had winning records in the NFL, let alone never been to the playoffs. So this bunch has not had a lot of success as it's currently constituted, winning from the guys that are left over from the previous regime. And that was after even a clean-out of the roster when Ryan Poles just arrived. So, figuring out fourth quarter, that's the money quarter, right? You got to figure out how to get it done in the fourth quarter, whether you're holding a lead or you're coming from behind to finish the job. And I guess finish is the big thing, that they have to finish plays, they have to finish tackles, they have to finish runs, run behind your pads, get the extra yards, and finish fourth quarters. And that's a big deal, obviously, in this league.
Yeah, Jeff, but the health of your secondary is probably not ideal for you guys right now. How do you feel like that the Bears are going to try and navigate that with the talent that Dallas does have at receiver?
Yeah, believe me, it's on my radar. Listen, Dennis Allen loves to play press man. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it as much as he originally wanted or authored in the scheme and the game plan for any team, because Jalen Johnson is an outstanding corner that wants to get your number one receiver and lock him up. But he's out maybe for the year. Obviously, the nickel defender, Kyler Gordon, is outstanding. He highest paid at his position in the NFL, and he's yet to take a snap this season because of a hamstring injury. So those are our 2 big ones. And our middle linebacker, TJ Edwards, our weak side linebacker, TJ Edwards, out. Tried to come back last week, re-injured a hamstring. Before the season began, and all of last year, I was on record as saying the heartbeat of the team and the best unit until further notice was the secondary. It was deep. We lost Terrell Smith, a backup in the preseason as well. So we're thinned out there now. And, it's a scary proposition for the types of people we're going to be facing, not only today, but moving forward. The Bears believe it or not, have to play whatever you want to rate quarterbacks now that Joe Burrow's out, so that's taken off the table. But we're playing Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts and originally Burrow and everybody in our division. Sure. And I know Lamar, all on the road. Okay, all those quarterbacks on the road with all those weapons. Like the Minnesota Vikings play all those same people at home. Yeah. So the Bears have a very challenging schedule, beginning with Dak coming in here today.
Hey, Jeff, though, but I will say this and get a chance to sit down and look at your games and stuff. Rome Odunze, he looks like he is a legitimate player for you. And, and I've kind of wondered a little bit about DJ Moore, because I always felt like, when my days of being in pro scouting and stuff in the league, I thought DJ Moore was a hell of a player. So is something, and I'm not saying a falling out or asking you to spill government secrets or anything like that, but why no DJ Moore? And I'm worried about him actually in this game kind of getting going for you guys.
Yeah, I'm not worried about DJ. First of all, Ben Johnson is just trying to craft what's best, obviously, to take advantage of mismatches with his personnel. And his game plan is going to be different every week. He's one of those coordinators, which I'm happy to hear and happy to see. DJ is everything you said he is. He's a total pro. He's legit talent in this league, very productive. He's been used out of the backfield a bit as well, so I'm not worried about that, but I am with you on the connection between Caleb and Rome right now.
Right.
I mean, even before he was drafted, they were working together.
Yeah.
They were working together, getting ready for the season, unknowing that they were both going to be Bears. And I happened to really dive into the tape of Rome Odunze when he was at Washington in his final year, staying up late on Saturday nights just prepping for the games on Sunday, and I happen to have those games on the television a lot in Chicago area. And I loved that player. Mm-hmm. I thought, wow, if we can get this player, that's going to be some good cooking here. And he's just a classy dude. Yes, he has a very nice connection brewing with Caleb Williams, but the key to this offense is you're going to have to exploit the mismatches and take advantage of those and spread it around.
Voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak, with us here on The Fan. How much different is it, though, and how much more exciting of an offense is it with Ben Johnson calling the shots as opposed to what you guys had in a guy like Shane Waldron?
Well, I'm not going to ding Shane or anything that happened last year because it just was one of those years. Not much went in the right direction, but Ben's a genius, man. I was told by many people in Detroit, behind the scenes, behind closed doors, or right to my face that, on the air, that this guy is just different. And I've appreciated his approach from the moment he got in town. He is no nonsense. He's got everybody's attention in that locker room. And yes, his creativity. They haven't had a chance yet to really get things going with the red zone, for example. This guy's a red zone creator. And I can't wait. Brad Sham just hugged me from behind. I knew it was the king. I felt his presence. How you doing, Brad? Legend. Love that man. Anyway, his creativity is yet to be unleashed, and it's going to be a process, getting everybody on the same page and getting to know this offense, but I'm excited about it.
Jeff, the Cowboys have really struggled with the pass rush, and we are kind of looking at with what you guys did against Minnesota, and then also with the Lions. Talk about a little bit. It looks like the inside three are fine. The tackles, maybe early in the season, have been a little struggle there with those positions.
You talking about our guys?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, first of all, Grady played on one leg last week, in my opinion, Grady Jarrett. So I love that play. Every time we played the Falcons, I always circle Grady Jarrett. He's a problem. I know he's getting to be on the other side of 30 here very soon, but that is an individual they actually needed in that huddle, a guy to really be the juice. So I'm hoping that he's going to have a big impact on a guy like Javon Dexter Sr. So we get these players, and I'm sure you feel the same way about the Cowboys. You get a player, you draft him in the second round, first round, third round. Right. You're expecting something immediate. Okay, they're gonna work in it. Then second year, okay, you're gonna get a lot significantly better. And third year is your takeoff year because you got to know, because now you're gonna talk about paying these guys. So you got to know. And this is a big year for Javon Dexter Sr. He's got the length. He's reshaped his body. And he can be a big factor. You can put him on the edge as well as rushing from inside. So those guys got to be very, very impactful today and moving forward. for this defense to really start to pressure the quarterback in the manner that Dennis Allen envisions. I'll also add to there, Andrew Billings is outstanding. I love that player. He's a try-hard guy. He's a run plugger, but he's not going to get a ton of snaps. But
Sure.
for the run defense, I think he had a really good year. And when he got hurt last year, the Bears' run defense went way down.
What about with the offensive line?
Offensive line, love Joe Thuney. Technique-wise, the way he sets, the way he recovers, the way he uses his hands is. I haven't seen a whole bunch of that around here lately, so that's refreshing. He's important. Braxton Jones is still trying to get over that injury he had last year, so he's been rough in the second half of games, of these first two games. And then Drew Dahlman was the top free agent center in everybody's opinion, so I think that's excellent for the quarterback. Take a bunch off his plate. Jonah Jackson is familiar with Ben Johnson at right guard, and Darnell is another one of those Javon Dexter players. Darnell Wright has to have a big year this year. He's got to take off, and with the salaries, as you guys already know, paying that offensive line, that young offensive line, you got to know this year. You got to know what he brings to the table and what he's going to be.
Jeff, I mean, the offensive line you mentioned for the Bears, though, in the running game aspect, not a lot of contact, when it comes to with Swift and those guys getting the football. Why haven't they been able to finish some of these runs with given the opportunity that they've gotten the ball beyond the line of scrimmage, just haven't made those explosive runs?
Well, hopefully, this is Eric Bieniemy being here. He says about Swift, he goes, I want him to introduce himself to people, meaning really deliver a pop. So he was really good during training camp, running behind his pads and lowering his pads. I think that's a part of his game. I believe in DeAndre Swift for this offense. I think he can be uber productive. Obviously, playing Minnesota, there were responsibilities that went beyond, dealing with the way Flo calls a blitz package.
Sure.
He even didn't do much of it against us. I was kind of surprised at that. So that kind of didn't materialize. And I thought Swift had a decent game last week, but things got out of hand. We're not going to run the ball when you're down as bad as we were in the second half.
Jeff, is it a big deal with Matt Eberflus returning to Chicago for this game? Is it a big deal for the Chicago folks?
No, I mean, I can't speak for the fans or how they're going to be or whatever, but it was asked and answered, and they got past it. I think everybody, given what transpired last year, as you alluded to from the beginning, was just really hard. Personally, it was the hardest year of my 29 years with the team.
Wow.
It was hard. Too much change, too much going on, and I don't think anybody wants to revisit it, to be quite blunt.
Yeah.
And I love Matt. Matt's a great guy. I consider him a friend. And I know he's going to do great things for the Dallas Cowboys.
Jeff, real quick, too, and again, I'm not trying to bring it up, but, man, it seemed like you guys had things kind of going well until that Washington game. It just seemed like that was is that kind of the way? And, again, I'm sorry for bringing it up last year.
Yeah, I don't want to even. I honestly, listen, it was ugly, so I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest.
Gotcha.
But I will say, it can't be one Hail Mary pass ruins the whole dessert. I just, they were 4-2 coming out of London, and that game was wrapped up.
Yeah,
and
sure was.
It was wrapped up, and you were going to go on the road and beat that quarterback. So I just can't believe that it unraveled that badly.
Right.
But it definitely did, and you can make a case they still haven't got snapped out of it yet, and hopefully that happens here from our perspective today against the Cowboys, and that's still going to be sitting there when the Bears come out of the bye week. Guess who they play? Same scenario. Out of the bye week, going to Washington.
Wow.
Take on Jaden Daniels and Washington. Unbelievable. A couple weeks from now.
Voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak, with us here on The Fan. Where is Caleb Williams at in his development?
He made strides last week, in my opinion. Significant strides. They asked him to change his footwork, being, he was, right foot forward. Now he's going to be left foot forward. He's taking it under center a lot more, which he has never really done. So that's an adjustment, just learning what is a very complicated offense, from what I understand, has been a process for him. But I like that he's making more convicted throws. I'd like him to work the middle of the field more, get the tight ends involved. and just get rid of the football in a timely fashion. So that's been the major discussion point, not only internally, but any analyst that is breaking down Caleb Williams, and that's almost become a side sport, if you ask me, around the league.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to break down Caleb Williams from and people getting on Kurt Warner. Who's going to get on Kurt Warner about how he analyzes quarterbacks? For people that never played, and you're going to – I don't get that. I get that people can analyze tape and watch it. I never played football. I watch a lot of tape. That doesn't make me an expert on how to play the game, particularly at quarterback with so much. But anyway, get rid of the football and just – you can't take 68 sacks. I know that can't happen again. So things are – I believe in this staff. This staff, top to bottom, the experience from young to 69-year-old linebackers coach, they went about an interesting way to build this staff, because you all know that when coaches are hired, they have favors that they have to pay off, and Ben did not hire a bunch of friends. He hired good football coaches.
Is weather going to play a role in this one today?
You know, initially I thought, but we're hearing now if it is going to rain, it may be 5 o'clock, but I don't think it's anything crazy.
I love it. Jeff, you're the man. We really appreciate the time.
No lightning delays today. Please.
Please, God.
No,
I saw that the college game, man. That was torture.
Yeah.
And I've lived through one of those when we played the Ravens a few years ago. A tornado actually came here in November, and I became like it's a long story. But.
Well, Jeff, this has been a real treat for us, man. Thanks for the time.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. Good
Absolutely.
luck, guys.
Likewise. There he goes, voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak, with us here on your Cowboys pregame show. 2 hours, 22 minutes to kick off. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on your home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
We'll get back out to Soldier Field, go inside the Star with our Cowboys insider Bobby Belt here in a few minutes, but right now it's time for today's player profile. The three-time Hall of Famer Chris Arnold standing by with Cowboys RB1, Javonte Williams.
Javonte, welcome to the Cowboys. I think the running game is figuring itself out. Look like you guys know what y'all doing out there.
Yeah, great O-line play. We got a lot of explosive backs in the run. We come and compete every single day, so it just make all of us better. And we know when our number get called, it's time to go show up.
I'm giving you props because it's not like, put it like this, I think a lot of people feel like the running game is in great hands. It's not that you're like Derrick Henry and you knock people down, and it's not like you get Saquon with these shifting moves, but it's like you get the job done. And last week, that 30-yard touchdown, I think that they made everybody feel really comfortable.
Yeah, it felt good. Scoring touchdowns, helping the team. I'm just glad we came away with a dub. It was a tight one. We just got to keep stacking them.
That's right. This afternoon, you got the Bears. Their defense is pretty stout. What kind of things do you guys have to look out for offensively with the Bears? Are they going to try to go after the quarterback? They're going to try to stuff the run? Are they going to have that flooded secondary? What are they going to do?
Yeah, they got a lot of multiple looks on defense. Dennis Allen does a great job trying to disguise things, so we just got to make sure we communicate in a hostile environment, control the noise, and just play our game.
I know you're glad you're healthy, right? It's been a minute.
Yeah, I'm saying it's a chip off my shoulder. I'm just glad to be out there feeling like myself again, running, moving, and having fun with the guys.
With that being said, do you have any pregame rituals? Do you eat a certain thing before a game, an afternoon game, or anything like that?
Nah, really, I just make sure I pray, and then after that, it's go time.
What about the music? You got a kind of music? Some guys got to have fire up music. Some guys want some chill music. Is there kind of music you listen to for the game?
Nah, I really just like for it to be peaceful. I try not to get too high or too low. I try to stay even keel throughout the game because I know it's going to be just like practice.
And finally, it seems like everybody on this team, the culture of the team, everybody fight for each other. Everybody do what they're supposed to do. And everybody loves Shotty.
Yeah, like I said in a couple past interviews, it really feel like college. Everybody getting along, everybody hanging out outside of football. So we just got to keep it rolling.
All right, good luck this afternoon.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, CA. Thank you, Javonte Williams. How about that? Just a little prayer, a little peaceful time before the game. Don't have to get too riled up. Get out there and dominate. I like that.
Good for him.
Especially on the heels. Dak Prescott talking about some Hootie and the Blowfish and some train that he likes.
I like Hootie. That's
good.
from my era, man. Early 90s.
That's good stuff. Yeah. All right, what do we think about this Cowboys rushing attack? Javonte Williams today. Should this be a nice one?
Off the edge. More. I think that I saw a little bit with the Lions, a little bit with the Vikings. They're down. Their linebacker situation with no TJ Edwards in there and then no Sewell having to play. He's Penei Sewell's brother. people have kind of taken advantage of him in some of the coverage things and some of the run aspects. So I anticipate that we're going to see some of the counter stuff that Dallas likes to do, where they get. And this is where Fred Davis earlier before in the crosstalk asked me about Hunter Lipke and stuff. I think you'll see Hunter Lipke more as a blocker. Point of attack blocking is going to come from span forward, and they're going to try to get that push and then work that ball off the edge. Like I say, the Lions had some really very successful plays going. I think the Cowboys are going to try to do similar things to that.
Yeah, I would like to see the Cowboys run a little bit better on first down.
Yeah.
Last week, outside of the big Javonte Williams touchdown run, it was kind of tough sledding there on those first downs.
Yeah, the last week the Lions hit the Bears about 10 yards a play on first down. And the Cowboys were at 5.2 against the Giants, but that was some mixed in runs, and there was not some early runs that weren't very successful. You need to get it going there.
All right, 877-881-1053. We will crown our Meat Church Menu of the Day champion. We have our buddy Robert in Carrollton, 2 for 2 on the season, looking to make it 3. Who's going to challenge him? Let us know what you got on your Cowboys game day menu, 877-881-1053. And let's go back out to Soldier Field, inside the Star with our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt. 2 hours and 18 minutes to kick off next right here on The Fan. All right, we're about to go inside the Star with our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, live from Soldier Field in Chicago. 2 hours, 11 minutes to kick off Week 3 style Cowboys and Bears. Whether you're a backyard griller, Cowboys tailgater, or Pitmaster Pro, Meat Church has everything you need. Visit meatchurch.com, your ultimate destination for the finest rubs, seasonings, and barbecue supplies. Matt Pittman and Meat Church, the official pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys. Bob, you can help us here on who to crown the champion. I've narrowed it down to 2. We got a lot of great texts, a lot of great menus all around Cowboys Nation today.
All right.
But this is going to be our 2-time champ looking for 3, Robert in Carrollton, versus our buddy Tony Hood, McKinney resident, UNT alum. So I might have a UNT bias here for this guy. He's doing smoked jalapeno sausages, Holy Voodoo Meat Church seasoning, pulled smoked chicken breast, all-purpose Meat Church seasoning, and then let's see, that's pretty much and the corn, smoked corn, Meat Church
corn.
Blanco. So that's what he's
going with all the arsenal. Yeah, he's going with all the arsenal.
Yeah, I know you rock that Blanco, Bob. And then you have our buddy Robert, who's rolling out the chicken fried steak sliders using Hawaiian rolls.
Oh, geez.
Country gravy with homemade fries and sweet potato.
He would not tell me what he was doing.
Flank steak, deviled eggs.
Oh, wait a minute.
That might be the ender there. But how about that chicken fried steak sliders with Hawaiian rolls and homemade gravy?
Oh my God!
Robert continues to outdo himself, man. I don't know, Bob. Where are you going here? You going with our guy Tony or old Rob?
I'm gonna go with Tony, and it has nothing to do with the Longhorn connection. Just I do love the Meat Church seasoning, especially the Blanco. Man, that just sounds like a fantastic spread. I'm not gonna be as crazy about the chicken fried steak sliders. I don't think. I'm sure they're done really well by Robert, but and fantastic name there. But overall, I think I would lean towards Tony personally.
Broaddus?
Man, it's everything but the deviled eggs. It's everything but the deviled eggs.
Oh, no.
I'll tell you what. I do enjoy the use of all those Meat Church seasonings. So yeah, give me that one.
Tried and true to the game. Yeah. There it is. Sorry, Rob. That looks like a hell of a meal, though. I might have to swing through Carrollton on the way home after the pregame because that sounds delightful. But congratulations to Mr. Tony Hood for his first championship as the Meat Church menu of the day. All right, Bob, how we doing, man?
Wonderful. How are you guys? I'm here in, for now, sunny Chicago.
Bobby, lowest press box view you've ever seen?
There's a lot of things about this that are the most or the least whatever press box I've ever seen. I don't know if it's the lowest.
I think the one in Nashville is really low.
Nashville's low. DC's probably lower.
Okay.
I think Washington's a little lower, but similar to Washington, there's a bunch of fence posts.
Yeah.
Cleveland is also pretty low.
Okay, I got you. What about your football team today? Where you thinking? The quarterback's been outstanding the last couple of weeks. Needs some help on this defense, though, right?
He does. He needs some help on this defense. Lucky for him, he's been outstanding, and he's going against a Bears defense that looks like it has a lot of the same problems as your Cowboys defense in terms of a lot of guys who seem confused about where they're supposed to be, how deep they're supposed to be. Detroit took advantage of that in a lot of big ways. I'm telling you, to me, deep crossers, deep over routes, a lot of stuff from the slot for CD today. I think they would destroy Chicago doing that. So if the weather plays nice and you're able to, play the passing game the way that I think you can and should, then I think this stacks up nicely for Dallas. It's just guys got to be in communication in the Cowboys secondary today, and hopefully Trayvon Diggs can go.
Seems like they're ready for you to go, Bobby, by playing that music.
I know. Dude, I turned my back to it and everything. Like, I got my back away from the thing, and I'm still, they're still blowing the trumpet. Na, hey, goodbye.
They got the rehearsals cooked up. Bobby Belt with us here on The Fan. How about running the ball today? It seems like it's kind of just pick your poison here with this Bears defense. Yeah,
look, I think that their vulnerability is definitely in the secondary to me. But, you can get success playing this game either way that you want for the Cowboys today. Because, they'll give up some runs on you, too. They've been gashed for some big runs this year. So, look, I think Javonte Williams, I saw the note this week, he has the most yards after contact per carry of any NFC running back. So you're talking about a guy who's been a physical runner. This is not a particularly tough physical finishing defense that I saw on tape for the Bears. And so, this is a day where I think Dallas can have success on offense. The problem is, like we talked about just there a little bit or inferred, is the other side of the ball. And do you allow running lanes to Caleb Williams like you did against Jalen Hurts? Do you allow some of the issues in the secondary like you did to the Giants? Because to me, if they have some of the issues they had last week against the Giants, Rome Odunze is going to get 200 yards today.
Yeah.
That's Caleb Williams' top target now, and a guy who can 100% stress the communication of that secondary. And so if they've already got problems with it, and then if you're at all, if you're potentially missing Diggs and some of the other issues in the secondary, I don't know. It could be a long day. We could see a shootout. Then again, of course, 5 o'clock today, an hour and a half into the game, there's a, last I saw on the weather report, was a 70% chance of thunderstorms at 5 o'clock today. So we'll have to see how the field conditions play out, too.
Bobby, all right, handicap it. Best chance, Flus spies Williams, or he doesn't play as much zone in this game?
He doesn't play as much zone, I would guess. But I could absolutely see him. The thing is, if you're going to spy, who would you use, Bryan?
I would use Wilson.
Marist?
I would think about Wilson, because what I would do is, if you look at the metrics, I love your breakdowns you do on your show. I think you did a great job this week. But I kind of was thinking about watching him play against single high looks, and it seemed that this was kind of Williams had problems with those single highs. So I would consider playing Hooker deep and then playing Wilson down.
I'm with you 100% on playing Wilson deep. Look, I recognize I'm going to give Matt Eberflus a little bit of leeway, a little bit of grace on you're learning your personnel. Mike Zimmer went through that the first couple weeks last year, figured out what his personnel could do, and it clicked. Dan Quinn, as good as his defenses were when he was here, the first 6 weeks he was here, they were not great. Because you're trying to figure out your personnel, and you're trying to figure out what guys can do. The thing I would hope Matt Eberflus can figure out really quickly, the biggest, most egregious thing for me that I've seen so far, is Donovan Wilson does not need to be playing deep middle as a safety for him. And he had him out there a couple times doing it last week, and it didn't work. If you're going to have one of those safeties do it, have Hooker do that. Do not put Donovan Wilson back there. So I agree with you. If you play Donovan Wilson down for sure.
Right.
And if he wants to spy with him, I wouldn't hate that. I wonder today, if Diggs isn't able to go, which, we're standing out here, we're watching him go through his workout right now. He's working with Britt right now. He's trying to loosen that knee up. You can see him kind of flexing it and working on the resistance cords and trying to do some different things. So we'll see if he's able to go. But if Diggs is out today, then I don't know. How much more do you trust man-to-man cover corner? Is it something where you'd want to play a little more zone if you've got some guys out there that you're not as certain about their ability to cover in man, and just say, hey, just worry about covering your zone today. That's all we want you to do.
Jeez. Okay, Bobby Belt with us here on The Fan. If there is no Diggs, what does this secondary look like?
You're probably going to see the backs of their jerseys a lot, I would guess, chasing people down. But I honestly, look, a big thing to me is if you can get pressure on Caleb Williams, you can cover over a lot of these issues. Just the issues, you're going to have to generate pressure. You're going to have to, actually break through. And look, I don't think that their left tackle is particularly good.
We said this last week too, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, look, and they looked like world beaters out there last week. But yeah, to me, I think that you're going to run out there with obviously some, Reddy Stewart. You're going to have him out there. You're going to have Kaiir Elam out there. But yeah, they're going to be. They had their practice squad elevations yesterday, and they were both. It was two corners. It was Childress and it was Rochelle. So I mean, they're clearly preparing for. They might not have him, but Diggs was, walking around fine yesterday, getting onto the plane, and he's out there working out on the field today. But I mean, it definitely looks like he's trying to get his knee loose. Like it does look like it might be a little stiff on him right now.
Probably no Clowney today.
I would. It's hard to say. I would guess not. Now, here's the only thing is that if Diggs isn't active, I don't know if then he might be. Because with Clowney, you would be able to just say, all right, go ahead, go after the quarterback. We'll just use you in third down passing situations. Obvious third down passing situations, just Clowney, you go get the quarterback and attack. And if you can just get upfield and get to the quarterback and help cover over some of these issues we might have in the back end, then you might see him active at that point. But I think it might be tied a little bit to Diggs.
Can we see more Houston today?
Yeah, I think you will. Matt Eberflus was really impressed with him and gave him a lot of praise during the week. This was not a week where Matt Eberflus looked like he wanted to sit in front of the media and talk to us, but on Thursday when James Houston came up, he really lit up and he broke into the question. He was like, boy, he's been really good, hasn't he? He's been really, really impressive. And so I think they've all noticed what James Houston has done to this point, and I think he's going to see more opportunities today to get after the quarterback.
60 seconds or less. Grade the city, grade the food.
So we did go to Lou Malnati's last night. It was very, very good. I was thinking it might be underwhelming the way cheesesteaks have been, like Ishkabibbles. And I'm sorry, Merrill Reese has never heard of that. I figured they'd been around as long as he had. But I think the Lou Malnati is very good. Crispy crunch underneath, which I was not expecting. I thought it was going to be very bready. It was not. I had a breakfast sandwich this morning from a deli that I can't remember, but it was very good. So food's been great. City's great. This is right up there with Philly for me. Philly and Chicago, two of the best cities we've been to on the road so far. So I really like Chicago.
I love it. Bobby Roberto Belt, ladies and gentlemen, our Cowboys insider. Thanks for the time, bro. Have a safe trip back.
Love you all.
Love you more. All right. Look at that, dude. He's loving the city. Chicago, you co-sign. I haven't been yet. I got to.
Yeah, I got married in Chicago.
Oh.
Yeah, got married in Chicago and then got divorced. Not in Chicago.
Not in Chicago.
No.
But it all goes back to that particular city.
Chicago's a great city, great walking around city. And along the lakefront, too. Like, in this time of year, in the wintertime, it gets a little rough because you walk around the corner of the buildings and the wind comes flying through there and you can be really, really cold living there. So, yeah, but it's a great, great city with great history, great restaurants as well. He's right about Illuminati's Pizza, though. It is that deep dish is.
It's serious.
It's serious, and it's knife and fork serious.
All right, we're 2 hours to kick off here on your Cowboys pregame show. Let's catch up with Dean Blandino, former head of officials for the NFL. Now he's a Fox Sports NFL and college football rules analyst. Plenty to discuss with Dean. We'll do that next right here on The Fan.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at Take 5 Oil Change. Just wear your Cowboys gear and save 25% on your oil change. No huddle, no overtime. Just drive in, stay in your car, and roll out. You'll be tailgate ready in 10 minutes flat. Keeping up with your car shouldn't be a tough call. Take 5 makes it as easy as calling the coin toss. Take 5 is the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit take5.com.
This is the Dallas Cowboys pregame show, brought to you by
Bell Nunnally, behind every great company. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Tyson Foods, get your Tyson Cowboys Star Nuggets available now. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
I am done with the tush-push, guys. It's a hard play to officiate like we've been talking about. So they either ruled progress or that Hurts was down. Really hard to see what's happening with the football. We're inside 2, so replay has looked at this, and they've determined that there was no fumble.
All right, let's welcome in former head of officials for the NFL. Now he's a Fox Sports NFL and college football rules analyst. He's Dean Blandino, ladies and gentlemen. Happy game day, Dean. Thanks for the time, bro. How you doing?
Of course, doing great here in Chicago, getting ready for Cowboys-Bears.
I love it, man. Well, we brought you in with that sound there, and I think we're all pretty much fed up with this particular play. My question, why do you think they didn't just vote to expel this play from the league this offseason?
Well, they did vote, and they didn't get the number of votes that they needed. You need 24 votes to take it out, and there were only 22 clubs that agreed to get rid of it. So it's here for another year. I think there was a combination of things. Quite frankly, I think there were some teams that felt like the Eagles had won the Super Bowl, and we're going to try to stop it, and we don't want to take the easy way out. And look, this play is, in my opinion, obviously you heard what I said. I don't love the play. I don't think it's a modern football play. You should be able to push ball carrier. That's never been legal up until 2006 in the NFL. And we'll see. We'll see what happens the rest of the year, and if they decide to take another shot at it in the offseason.
Dean, why would anybody want to be an official?
I asked that question to a lot of our officials and people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, for me, it was interesting. Like, I never dreamt of being an official. I kind of fell into it, started at the league office. So, and I talk to officials all the time. I'm like, yeah, why would you want to do a job that even when you're incredibly good at what you do, people think you're terrible? It's just, it's not a fun job, but I think it is rewarding for the people that do it, and just making sure the game is played fairly and safely. But it's a hard job, and we don't make it any easier with how we evaluate officials with slow motion and instant replay and things like that.
Dean, maybe this is an unfair question, but has gambling put a lot of pressure, and the way that the league has kind of embraced gambling, and our broadcasts have embraced gambling, has it put a lot of undue pressure on officials?
I think it has. Look, the scrutiny has never been greater, but I think there's already the scrutiny of what goes into the and the teams, and making sure that the game is decided fairly. So the pressure is incredible of that outside stuff. And then you add, I think what it does is it creates more negativity around officiating, because you have people that are gambling on games. You have people that lose money, and the officials are an easy target when your team doesn't win and you lose that bet. It adds to some of the scrutiny that officials are under, and just creates this environment that is negative a lot of the time.
Dean Blandino with us here on The Fan. Through that lens of the gambling aspect and things, could that lead to more sort of transparency when it comes to the replays and things like that, and like taking the fans at home sort of inside those conversations?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think that's something the NFL has to seriously look at. And I think it's not, I don't think the NFL has an officiating problem. I think it's a transparency issue. Because when you don't allow people to see and hear what's going on, you're going to have these conspiracy theories. You're going to have these people coming away from a decision that they don't understand, and they don't know why it was made. So it must be something outside of people just trying to do their job. So I think that transparency would really help, and give people an understanding of what goes into the process and listening in, and I think that would really help.
It's Dean Blandino with us here on The Fan. Okay, so looking through a Cowboys lens now, last week there was a situation where the Giants get called for 3 fouls on one play. CeeDee Lamb gets sort of an unsportsmanlike deal, so he gets the 1 flag and everything just offsets. I would imagine that's relatively rare, but I mean, what's the deal with the offsetting when you have a 3-to-1 ratio?
Yeah, it is unusual that you're going to have 3 and 1, and it doesn't seem fair. That goes back to offsetting penalties and keeping it as simple as possible, right? We just talked about how hard the official's job is, and then you have all these rules, and then you try to keep it as simple and don't make it more complicated. So even if there's 2 or 3 fouls on one team and the other team commits a foul, it offsets, because if it didn't, you're thinking about, okay, well, do the yardage, we got to figure out a 115 on this team and 110 yard on this team. It gets more complicated. So didn't seem fair in that moment, but in general, that's kind of the rule in terms of offsetting penalties, and it does make it simpler for the officials to administer.
Hey, Dean, we kind of have to focus on the game we're watching. So, but around the league, we were talking about the unsportsmanlike conduct. I know when we were at training camp and the officials were coming through, has there been some penalties that they've enforced more early and to try and get teams to kind of be aware, or is everything kind of been pretty calm so far for the first couple of weeks?
We talked about CD getting the unsportsmanlike conduct call last week. That was a point of emphasis going into the season. The league felt like last year the unsportsmanlike conduct, whether it was violent gestures or just the taunting thing, that went up, and they wanted to really curb that. So that has been a point. We've seen more fouls called. I think that will continue to be a major point of emphasis when you think about sportsmanship. I think, look, after last week with the tush push and some of the false starts and some things that happened, I think we're going to see officials call that a lot closer, at least this week and probably going forward. Those are a couple things for.
Dean, this has been a real treat for us, man. Thank you so much for giving us some time. We really, really appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of the season.
You got it, guys. Take care.
Absolutely. There he goes. Fox Sports, Dean Blandino with us here on your Cowboys pregame show, brought to you by Reliant. Reliant is proud to power the home of the Dallas Cowboys and the homes of Cowboys fans all across Texas. Reliant, the official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. So, yeah, what do you think there, man? I mean, I know Dean is a polarizing figure here, especially when it comes to Cowboys fans.
I think you made a good point, though, and I think they do have a very difficult job. And I used to study officials all the time. Wherever team I was with, I wanted my guys to know that, hey, this official, we can maybe get these calls or maybe get that call, or let's be very mindful of potential holding late in the game. With that kind of safe. I think Dean he's got a very, very difficult job. Well, he had a very difficult job with the officials. Now he's trying to be as fair as he can, but he's also looking at it from that tush push thing. It's a devastating play. It really is one of the, we watched the Eagles today run it for a first down and then ultimately a touchdown.
And we've seen the false start too.
Yeah.
We saw the guard move early on the one that they played earlier today.
So officials are going to be a little bit more mindful of that, but I do, like I say, I'd never want to ever blame the officials, because last week Bill Vinovich is a let you play guy generally. Had 30 some odd calls last week.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And you're like, man, just when you go in thinking, no, this guy's going to let you play football today, that in fact just did not happen last week.
All right, so Bobby gave us the update. Trayvon Diggs working on the field right now with the trainers, trying to get himself ready to play. Questionable coming in with the knee issue.
Yeah.
How much of a nightmare is that going to be if he doesn't play?
Well, it will be a big nightmare, because now you have to kind of figure out. My guess would be that maybe Trequez Bridges would be probably that kind of that fill-in guy. We'll see. They've elevated Rochelle. They've elevated Childers. I think that Bridges has been here long enough, and he got some action last week in the game. It was only just a couple of plays, but man, that would be, they're throwing. They would have to throw out some guys there. I'm sure they want to keep Stewart as the nickel, and then keep Elam on the other side. And then, like I say, it's Childers, Bridges, Rochelle would be the guy starting on the other side. Boy, that'd be tough.
Man, 2 quarterbacks, 2 offenses, 2 groups of receivers that are just licking their chops in this game.
Well, and,
right?
and both teams struggling with pass rush.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is which one of these secondaries will hold up better if, in fact, that neither one of them is getting the pass rush necessary.
Yeah, it's important, too, because when you look at Caleb Williams, like when he's under pressure, he's 23rd in the league in terms of completion percentage, and he's 27th in the league in terms of yards per attempt. He's got an interception, and he's been sacked 6 times.
Yeah.
If you can pressure this guy, he becomes a much different version of himself, but the Cowboys are 23rd in the league in pressure rate and only 26th in blitz rate. Like, do you feel like that needs to start getting cranked up a little bit more, the blitzing from Eberflus?
Man, there's a lot of things that need to get cranked up, and that's kind of where both these teams, and especially the Cowboys, they need to find a way if they're going to have an offense, and I believe this, and we talked about this when Micah Parsons was traded. We had our show that day. The question I had is, if you have an offense that scores a lot of points, you're taking teams out of the ability to run the football. Mm-hmm. They're chasing points. How are you putting teams away with pass rush? Who is going to be your pass rush? There's a side of me that the Cowboys felt like that their run defense was so bad that they needed to make this trade. But what did it do? It put them in a position now where
it's hard to close games.
It's hard to close games. And fortunately, Sam Williams was able to do that last week with the pressure. So, hey, nice job by the two. I'm looking at this. The Rams just scored a touchdown up 26-7 on Philadelphia here in the third. But
tearing them up.
But, yeah, they just blasted the Hurts there in the pocket and got a fumble right there. But the thing about it is, though, you're talking about how is this pass rush, how are you going to close games? You're by just your offense being a 26 to 28 point offense, you're taking people out of their ability to run the football.
Mm-hmm. It's like the complementary football aspect.
Yeah,
this is a team with an offense that's kind of a juggernaut to some extent. At least through 2 games, they've shown elements of that.
Yeah, they've got the ability, and now you let them run the football with some purpose with Williams and that. Geez, I mean, it just that pass rush aspect. I hope that's not the thing that hurts them the remainder of the season.
Yeah, so far it has not been great. Right now, the Bears are dead last in the NFL in terms of expected points added as a rushing offense through 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So they're not really able to run the ball much at all. And then just in general, 36% success rate on offense, and that is ahead of only the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
So this should be an opportunity defensively to be able to make some plays. Did you see, I know Jeff Joniak, voice of the Bears, was saying that it looked like Caleb Williams was much more comfortable and took some strides in week 2.
Yeah.
Did you notice that in that week 2 game last week?
They got blitzed. I mean, Detroit just blitzed them.
Right. Like on the surface, you're thinking Caleb Williams must have played terrible, but did you see some elements?
I thought he was better against the Vikings than I did against the
Lions.
The Lions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought that. To me, they've got skill guys that are capable of getting open. And if Dallas is playing with a really compromised secondary and not much of a pass rush, this could be a very daunting game for them to have to play defense.
I think it's interesting how much 12 personnel they play. They draft Colston Loveland in the top 10 of the first round. They have Cole Kmet, and they play those guys quite a bit, but they're not involving them in the passing game at all.
Not at all. And this is where you kind of worry about that right now.
Like, will this be the game they unleash the tight ends a little bit?
Yeah, all of a sudden it's like, okay, is Dallas still playing too deep, and are they asking linebackers to have to carry and cover and those kinds of things? And is the safety situation, where's it at? Yeah, there's a lot of things that I think that Chicago, let's be honest, the Giants last week, the Bears have got a better offensive line than the Giants had last week. You just hope that they all of a sudden don't figure out how to pass protect, and then all of a sudden Caleb Williams is throwing to receivers that have found ways to get open. These skill guys have, they're one of the top 4 teams in the league when it comes to route separation down the field. So yeah, if all of a sudden he's accurate throwing the football to open receivers, this game could be clearly go back and forth.
All right, we're an hour and 39 minutes to kick off. Let's catch up with our buddy Babe Laughenberg live from Chicago next right here on The Fan.
Looking for the perfect getaway?
All right, we're just over 90 minutes to kick off. Great to have you in the official pregame party of your Dallas Cowboys. Let's go live to Chicago and welcome in our buddy Babe Laughenberg. Chop it up with the quarterback. Babe, happy game day, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Bright sunshine right now. We know we're supposed to get a little bit of rain, maybe coming in the second quarter, but right now it's just perfect. And the field, which is a natural grass field, also looks perfect. So good day for football so far.
That's fantastic. What type of Babe Laughenberg memories are centered around Soldier Field? Did you ever play out there and just light them up?
Well, I never lit them up. You know what's funny? My memory of Soldier Field is when Emmitt Smith got dumped on his head on a Monday night game. They took him off, I believe, in an ambulance. And 1993, 4. I think it was the Super Bowl years, but it was the first game of the year. It was Labor Day weekend, which they don't play anymore, but it was that Monday, and that's kind of my memory of Soldier Field, hoping Emmitt wasn't dead.
Yeah, I remember the story of Emmitt talking about how Walter Payton came in there to the hospital and kind of by his side and things like that. Yeah, that was a scary night for sure.
Yeah.
Well, man, we've been pretty impressed with Dak Prescott through 2 games, Babe. Would love to know your evaluation of him, how he's playing, and just his confidence right now. It seems like he's rocking and rolling.
Yeah, we're 2 games in, but he just seems very comfortable, doesn't he, in the pocket, and very decisive. He's not kind of coming back and head on a swivel, looking right, left, right, trying to find something. I mean, he comes back, hits that back foot, and the ball is out. And I think he's played very well. Now, I guess he should, right? He's a 10-year veteran. So, you know what's interesting, too, now? Dak Prescott is the longest tenured quarterback for one team in the NFL now. I kind of, maybe I'm getting older. Well, let me rephrase that. I am getting older, but I kind of think of Dak as this young guy, and he's 10 years in, and again, he's the longest tenured quarterback for any team in the NFL right now. But I think he's played very well the first 2 games. First game was tough because every ball was challenged. I mean, Philadelphia had guys draped on his receivers all game long. Little more open space last week for him to throw.
Hey, Babe, speaking of space to throw, with Diggs being on the injury report late in the week, and then now him working out pregame, the challenges with a little bit without the pass rush that we haven't seen really extensively, but this secondary, if no Diggs today.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough and well documented. Matt Eberflus liked to play zone defense, but he didn't come in here with the anticipation of playing the zone the way they have. But if you don't have a rush and you don't have man-to-man corners, which, you know, obviously Jerron Bland's now out, Diggs possibly out, and certainly Diggs was, 80-85% in the first 2 games.
Sure.
Reddy Stewart last week starting in the slot. You don't really want to put those guys in man-to-man situations, and so I don't think we've seen what Matt Eberflus would really like to do with that defense. But he's going to have to play some more zone today, right? No Bland, possibly no Diggs. We're still awaiting word on that. He was working out on the field here before the game, but I was told he was 50-50 to play today. So you're going to see a lot more zone defense coming at you today. I'm sorry to say.
Babe Laughenberg with us here on The Fan. So speaking of Matt Eberflus, how emotional of a game is this for him, you think?
Very. And I love when coaches get up there and just another game. It's the 3rd game on the schedule. We just want to go 1-0 today, and there's no way in the world, and rightfully so. I don't say that he was fired unfairly. You could just see things had turned here and turned against Matt Eberflus. But I'll go back. The 3 games that he coached in before he was fired, played all playoff teams. They lost by 1 point to Green Bay. They lost in overtime to Minnesota, and they lost by 3 points to Detroit. So they were not getting blown out of games. As a matter of fact, they just lost 52-21 to Detroit last week. Now, I'm not defending him. I know how they lost. I know things that happened, but I think they played a little bit better football than they thought. But for Matt Eberflus, the wound, I'm sure, is still raw, right? Brian Schottenheimer got fired by Pete Carroll. And the Cowboys will play the Las Vegas Raiders and Pete Carroll, in about 5-6 weeks. That was 4 years ago. You put a lot of time between that. Matt Eberflus, it's like, hey, when you get dumped by your girlfriend, right? A week later, it stings. 10 years later, you even forgot her name, right? So Matt Eberflus just got dumped at the prom about a week ago. So this one is going to be special to him. You know that, and you know he wants his defense to perform well. Now the question is, does he have the horses to do it? We'll see.
Babe, what are you seeing from Caleb Williams as you study this Bears offense?
I see a guy that should look at Dak and emulate Dak, because he's just I thought he was loose, and I know that's a generic term, but I thought he was loose at USC. And I don't mean on passes. I just mean the drop, the demeanor, there wasn't that go back, hit your back foot, get the ball out. And I think Ben Johnson is trying to get him to look more like Dak. And as a matter of fact, they talked about Matthew Stafford. Ben Johnson did, the head coach for the Bears. Look at Matt Stafford and the way he plays. And so, you always got to be careful, I think. I used to watch Joe Montana tape when I was playing, right? I'm like, that was a gold standard, but I could never be Joe Montana. So you have to incorporate some of what the other guy does with your natural ability. And as we all know, Caleb Williams has a ton of natural ability. I think the other misnomer is, I kept hearing this week, he'll throw you one, he'll throw you. He's only thrown 3 interceptions in his last 16 games. So if he does throw you one, you better catch it, because there aren't many more coming your way. But I'll be shocked. I know he's not there yet, but I'll be shocked if he doesn't become one of the really good quarterbacks in the league.
It's Babe Laughenberg with us here on The Fan. So looking at this Cowboys defense, it looks like Trayvon Diggs is going to be active and playing in this game. So that is certainly a boost. But what did you see with some of the breakdowns in coverage last week, Babe, and just the miscommunication and how easy is that sort of to remedy, or is that a season-long sort of process?
Well, it's easy to remedy in terms of the communication. What do you need to do? Communicate, right? But that was really bad last week. I don't know that I'd seen that many guys running free. And to Bryan's point, Russell Wilson, there's a reason why he was able to throw the ball 65 yards downfield and hit Malik Neighbors, right, for that touchdown right before overtime started. And that was because he had about 4 seconds to throw the ball. And if they give Caleb Williams that time with this group of receivers, we're going to see the same thing. So, I mean, until you get a pass rush, it's going to be a little shaky back there in the secondary.
Yeah, Babe, to me, the Bears have got their own struggles, and with their secondary the way it is. But Dallas has shown an ability to kind of run the football a little bit. Is it one of these games that you play? Is it you start off trying to run it, or do you just feel like, hey, I'll protect my front and then find a way to throw in the secondary if you're attacking the Bears?
Well, I think, and we're 2 games into it, but I think Brian Schottenheimer is going to have a commitment to run the ball. Yeah. Mike McCarthy talked about it, but then it really never showed up, right? I think Schottenheimer is going to try to run the ball. So I think they'll keep that running game involved, but you also know the way to attack Chicago is going to be through the air eventually. But again, I don't think you want to turn it into a game which I know it became last week, but where you're throwing Dak 50 times for no reason, right? I think you want to keep that balance, but I do think they should have some success going against this Bears team. And the Bears, like the Cowboys, they did not present much of a pass rush either.
Right.
They did not get after it. So it's almost defensively, they're the same teams. And Bryan, I know you look at the tape.
Yeah.
Montez Sweat just looked slow to me. He looked slow.
He's not he's not their best pass rusher, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised looking at the tape of the last couple of games, and I was waiting for him to kind of jump out on the tape, and he just looked like another guy.
Sure did.
And he hasn't been another guy really, but he sure did.
Babe, who from a pass catching standpoint with the Bears, because it seems like they're going to be trying to throw the football today for sure. Both offenses are probably licking their chops right now. Is it Rome Odunze that stood out to you the most?
Yeah, I mean I think he's going to be really good. I've always been a DJ Moore fan, their other receiver. And the thing about DJ Moore, he's built like a running back. He's kind of got that Deebo Samuel build to him. So you get him on quick screens and just get him the football in space like that. And I think he's really dangerous. But yeah, Rome Odunze, he just looks like he's going to be one of those top receivers in the league. Now, obviously, he was drafted with a top 10 pick, so that's what they're expecting. But hey, he had 3 touchdown catches last year. He's already got 3 this year. So I think he's probably as happy as anyone that Ben Johnson is now the head coach for the Chicago Bears.
And Babe, this offense, a lot of 12 personnel stuff, but really have not gotten Kmet and Loveland going like I felt like they were going to go when they, especially when they drafted Loveland.
Yeah, and it was like when the Raiders took Brock Bowers, right?
Right.
And they already had Mayer there. It's like, wait a minute, they just used the second rounder last year and they used the first rounder. And Kmet's a few years back, but he was a second round pick and obviously a good player. And yeah, I'm to your point, I'm a little surprised too that Loveland has not been incorporated more in the offense, you know.
Did you paint the town last night in Chicago, babe? I know you like to get buck wild on the road trips.
Oh yeah, you know what I painted? My hotel room.
Yeah.
I sat and I did some notes. I never left the hotel room. I did some notes. I watched UTEP unfortunately lose on my iPad, and I watched Indiana actually absolutely crush Illinois on the TV.
It's amazing
So
that
was my night.
Indiana gets good quarterback play. See what happens. That program can go places.
You know, hey, we really have had pretty good quarterback play. I have to defend my guys, and one of them is a coach for the Bears, Antoine Randall L.
Yeah,
he was such a good quarterback. They moved him to receiver. Fortunately, that was the beauty of me. You know, I probably ran 4.8. So there was never a notion of, gosh, where should we play him? You could only play quarterback because I couldn't run. But Trent Green, we got a couple. But, man, Mendoza, that kid
he is playing
what did he
well.
end up, like 21 or 24 or something? I mean,
he's legit, dude.
I'll tell you something about that coach in Indiana. You talk smack about him during the week, he will beat you down. He beat down that Brett Bellama guy. I mean,
my gosh.
beat him down.
Well, it's funny, and I don't pay attention to college football, obviously, the way I do the NFL, but I follow it a little bit. And I was watching some of the, pundits before the game on the various channels, before our charter took off and before I left my house. And to a person, because there were some women involved as well, to a person they said, Indiana hasn't seen defense the way Illinois is going to play defense today. And then they put 63 points on them.
Unbelievable. So you don't make it a point to get some delicious food out there in Chicago? I mean, you don't have a spot?
I swear I look at it as a business trip. I really do. And obviously, you probably heard, or you may have already mentioned, the charter was a little bit late. So we got back to the room a little later. And I just hang out. I'm getting old. Boring.
No, you're the man, babe. We appreciate the time.
Let me just say, Eric, I've always been boring, but now I'm old and boring. So that's a bad combo.
Well, we love you. We can't wait to hear you and Brad and Christy on the call today, man. Enjoy the game.
Okay, let me just tell you quickly, if you guys need tickets to the national championship game when Indiana plays, I think I still have a little pull down there. So
there we go.
I'll get mine through LSU, babe. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you, man.
There we go.
See you, babe.
All right, see you guys.
All right, let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on your home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
Hey, United Healthcare is the proud official healthcare partner of the Dallas Cowboys, bringing coverage you can count on to Cowboys territory. Learn more at uhc.com. All right, if Broaddus was in Chicago for this trip, what would have been the move last night? There's
Gibson's.
no way.
I'd have gone to Gibson's and had a prime rib sandwich probably.
Oh.
There's a place called Rosebuds, too. That's a really good steak place. Last time when we were there, I went there for, who'd I go with? Some of the Cowboys. But, yeah, there's just so many places to eat in Chicago. It's not just a pizza town, man. They got steak places in that town as well. So, a lot of good food.
So Diggs, it looks like he's going to be active.
He is going to be active. Who do you got him right in front of you, right there? Who those are the inactive?
Yeah.
Blue?
I was going to let Christy give us the full 4-1-1.
I got you.
But we do know that it looks like Clowney not going to play.
Yeah, we thought about that. They were worried about him not having enough practice time this week.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's a tough thing to just throw a guy out there. We were hearing about how Schottenheimer gave the entire team kind of a light day on Wednesday, which is usually a heavier work day, but since they went into overtime and played so many snaps, he kind of took it light on him. So there wasn't really many opportunities to see Clowney out there with the pads on and getting after it, and then not having preseason training camp, any of that. I think it's probably the right move here, but from an edge rusher standpoint, like somebody's going to have to get
Somebody's
going.
going to have to step up today. I mean, they're going to need, and I told you earlier, I kind of feel like that the Bears' offensive line is better than what we saw with the Giants last week with their offensive line. And if there's any indication of that, I would hope that Dallas it maybe figures something out with a rotation. They need to get after these tackles. Braxton Jones.
He's the left tackle, right?
He's the left tackle, and
he's the scrub.
If you do not attack him in this game and you let him just get away easily, shame on you for doing that, because he's the one guy that will break down in this game. But you got to worry about Caleb Williams running the football. You really do. I mean, you were going to be the Bears are one of the most penalized teams, like pre-snap. They get their third down. It's 3rd and 9 for them a lot. They get in a lot of long yardage situations because they get penalized, and they also have problems with pressures and stuff like that. But you get them in 3rd and 9, and you can't get them off the field because the quarterback's running, or you let them just run right through the middle of a zone or something like that. It's tough. That's really tough.
So Caleb Williams using the legs, that's a bit of a fear.
That's my biggest concern. And then my next biggest concern would be all of a sudden DJ Moore starts going in a game, gets going, and then Rome Odunze is now he's really good, and I worry about him like 3rd. But I think that because you're in a situation too where Reedy Stewart is playing the nickel. And then you got DJ Moore, who plays in the nickel quite a bit. You get him in the slot, and now they're and Ben Johnson. We know Ben Johnson will look for your guys. He'll look for the matchups out there. So that be aware of that one. Be really aware of that.
Yeah, both secondaries could be in a world of trouble today.
Yeah,
now we're an hour and 17 minutes away from kickoff. Let's go live to Chicago and get the scoop from Cowboy sideline reporter Christy Scales. That's next, right here on The Fan.
show continues on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Brought to you by
Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Arrow Exterminators, official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
All right, we're just about an hour and 10 minutes to kick off here on the pregame show. Great to have you in. Let's go live to Soldier Field in Chicago and welcome in Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales to give us the scoop here in the pregame. Christy, happy game day. How are you?
Happy game day, Eric. And yes, I know you discussed earlier that Trayvon Diggs is available to play today. And sometimes you hear a game time decision, and we know that those decisions are made before game time. But no, this was a game time decision, and he did about 25 minutes of working out on the field under the eye of Britt Brown, the director of rehabilitation, and then about half the coaching staff, along with Will McClay out there to watch as well. But able to get through the warm-ups and will play today. But here's the question is that he played 27 snaps in week 1 at Philly, and then last week, that overtime game, 61 snaps. What's really reasonable to expect for today for Trayvon? With a sore knee, and yeah, he practiced Thursday and Friday, but pops up on the injury report yesterday. So I think we're going to see some Triquez Bridges today. He's the guy that was claimed off of waivers from the Chargers and played about 15 snaps last week, and I wouldn't be surprised if he works in a little bit more for Trayvon today, as they'll monitor Trayvon closely with that sore knee.
Christy, the decision not to play Clowney this week.
Ramping up, he signed Monday and Wednesday. Coach Shottenheimer did not have a padded practice, said that, the guys with all of the extra snaps from that overtime game, they didn't do a padded practice. And so he just really, literally off the streets. And there's one thing about being in good shape, and then there's being football shape. So they just don't want to push it. And he's still in the ramp-up process, so he is inactive today. And then one other change along the defensive line. The first 2 weeks, Mozzie Smith, the former first-round pick, the defensive tackle, has been inactive. He is active today. So the coaches have decided to go with Mozzie over Jay Toia, the rookie who was inactive. Toia was active. Now it's going to be Mozzie today instead of Toia.
What do you think is the reasoning behind that?
The thing about Mozzie, when you talk to the coaches, and I don't just mean in press conferences, but even off to the side, what do you need to see from Mozzie? And it's consistency, right? And so, he gets the work in practice, and I think they'll tell you that it's just seeing more consistency in practice. It's my understanding it's not an injury situation or anything like that with Toia, and the Toia had the edge couple weeks, but now Mozzie will get some time today and see if he can merit even more playing time moving forward.
Interesting. Okay, so what about from like a weather standpoint, field condition standpoint today?
Yeah, well, this Bermuda grass, natural grass, looks beautiful. It is hot. It's like 76 degrees, which that sounds really nice. We do have a very slight breeze. Wind's not a factor right now until some rain possibly blows in late in second quarter or at halftime. So there is rain in the forecast, but right now it's warm down here. It's mostly sunny, just kind of muggy. It's real humid because they had a lot of rain here over the weekend, and so anyway, it is an SPF 50 kind of day, guys. I wish I had brought some more sunscreen because it is warm and muggy so far and sunny.
Well, Christy, you're a veteran. Go right behind the bench there. Britt Brown and them got some sunblock.
Oh, I know exactly where it is.
Yeah,
that's right.
They have
know
it
exactly.
I'm going to ask you this, though, Christy. Things are going on. This is the first time, though, with no BB at center. There's things.
Right.
What's going on with the backup situation there?
Yeah, so Brock Hoffman moves into the starting lineup as the starting center, and so TJ Bass, who's your backup guard and third-team center, he's going to be your backup center and backup guard. But he's the only interior lineman backup that is available today because one of the guys that they added in the last 3 weeks, Keegan Trevor Keegan,
Yeah.
is not active today. Coach's decision. So your two backup offensive linemen available are TJ Bass and then the veteran free agent Hakeem Adeniji, the guy from North Texas area from Garland. He's an offensive tackle, but I've specifically asked, if TJ Bass has to go in at center or at one guard spot, does Adeniji have the ability to move inside if necessary? So Adeniji is your backup offensive tackle and backup guard today after Bass.
I would have thought it'd been Nate Thomas. Is who I would have thought.
Well, Nate Thomas, you could give Thomas some work as well, but, he's been working more at left tackle.
Yeah,
so, you could slide him in as well because his rookie year last year before he got hurt, he took all of the snaps at guard last year. For this offseason, they moved him to tackle.
Christy Scales with us here on The Fan. Are we expecting a good amount of Cowboys fans
We are. I know you guys were talking about it during the week about the resale tickets and how they'd been tracking it, and it was 50% or just over 50% of the sales were going to Cowboys fans. And I can tell you that the early arriving crowd here at Soldier Field, there is a lot of blue, cowboy blue, not that midnight blue of the Bears. So, in fact, you can hear Jerry Jones walking nearby, and you might be able to hear them chanting Jerry's name as he makes his way down here towards the sideline.
Oh, I know he loves that. Did you have fun in Chicago last night?
I did. I went to a play called Ashland Avenue. It was at the Goodman Theater here downtown. And if you guys watch The Office, Jenna Fisher, who plays Pam from The Office, she was in it. So, yeah, it was a really good play. Really enjoyed it. So this is a great theater town. After New York, I think most people would argue that Chicago's the number 2 theater town after New York. So always try and catch a play or a musical here.
I love it. All right, and who are the captains for today's game, you think?
So the game captain is Javonte Williams, the running back. So your offensive captains are Dak and CD. For defense, Oso Digizua, Donovan Wilson. Special teams, Brandon Aubrey and CJ Goodwin. So there's your season-long captains, but your game captain for today is Javonte Williams.
I love it, Christy. Thanks so much. We appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you again next hour.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. There she goes, Cowboy Sideline reporter Christy Scales here on the pregame show as we are now just over an hour away from kickoff. What do you think about some of the inactives here? I mean, the Mozzie Smith stuff, getting the call up, I find that to be interesting.
Well, I think that maybe this is, Blue down and then Smith up. And obviously there was some talk about having to earn opportunity. And I don't think that Jay Toia has played poorly.
I agree.
And so it's one of those things where you're kind of like going, okay, was Mozzie that good the last couple of weeks where he wasn't? Now, you mentioned it. They didn't practice very much.
I know. That's what's funny about this week where they didn't really do much.
Yeah, they didn't do a whole lot. So, yeah, this might be a little bit of just see what Mozzie has and if maybe they're also not worried about the Bears trying to run the football. Maybe they're thinking the Bears are going to try and throw this one, so maybe Mozzie gives you a little bit more pass rush from the tackle spot than JT.
Now with the Brock Hoffman,
I was just trying to talk myself into that.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, it makes sense. It certainly makes sense, but it is a little bit of a head scratcher because Toia hadn't played that bad, and this was not a week of practice where they really got to get after it. So seeing Mozzie Smith be awesome in practice this week, I don't really know what that means, but when it comes to the offense and no Cooper Beebe, one, just how good has Cooper Beebe been? How big of a loss is it for him to go down? And he's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. And now you have Brock Hoffman coming in at center.
Yeah, I kind of believe that Brock Hoffman for like 3 or 4 games is pretty good. When Brock Hoffman's in game 5 and game 6, there might be a little bit more stress level there.
Yeah, we saw that last year where it was like, okay, a couple of decent starts, and then it started to fade on him a little bit.
Yeah, sure did.
But he was playing guard last year.
Yeah. Like I say, much better pass blocker than I think the run blocking. I think that's where you're going to miss out a little bit in this football game. Can you find ways to get the running game going? And not that the Bears defensive line is, well, the Giants defensive line, I think the Giants defensive line was better than what they played against Philadelphia. With that crew.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean with Dexter Lawrence, no Jalen Carter, I can
exactly.
see that.
Yeah, the way they played. So this might not be the challenge that they've had the last couple of weeks, but it's still pretty significant taking BB out there. He and Booker and Tyler Smith have done a really nice job.
Now, we know CeeDee Lamb's always going to put up quite the production, quite the stat line.
Yeah.
So understanding that, do you feel like this is a great Pickens opportunity, Jake Ferguson opportunity? We'll see with Turpin as well. He got a little banged up last week, but he's ready to go.
I think that the Bears will clearly they'll struggle, and they'll struggle with that nickel. And I think Nick McLeod will struggle really badly.
He gave up a 158.3 passer rating last week, which is a perfect passer rating. He is a problem for them.
That is a problem, and they have problems at safety. Kevin Byard at the safety does not cover particularly well, and they put him in situations to do that. So that could be Jake Ferguson. That could be crossing routes. That could be vertical routes up the seam as well.
Yeah. I mean, you see the middle third of their defense gets peppered quite a bit, and having McLeod in there instead of Gordon has been a huge problem for them. I mean, the way Pro Football Focus looks at their secondary, it's like 86th out of 95, 70th out of 95 for their corners.
Yeah.
Nashawn Wright being one of those guys, former Cowboy. Nick McLeod, the slot corner we were just talking about, 93rd out of 95 corners. Kevin Byard, the guy you mentioned, 75th out of 75 safeties, and then Jaquan Brisker, he's their best guy, 29th out of 75 safeties. That's how Pro Football Focus has graded it. All right, we're 60 minutes to kick off, and it's an absolutely loaded final hour, as always, with head coach Bryan Schottenheimer. We'll hear from Jerry Jones, and, of course, more Super Bowl winning analysis from Bryan Broaddus next, right here on The Fan.
And by blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with blockchain.com.
Also brought to you by
Bell Nunnally, behind every great company. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Tyson Foods, get your Tyson Cowboys Star Nuggets available now. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
All right, we're under 60 minutes to kick off here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Great to have you in the official pregame show of America's team. I'm Eric Chiofalo alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus with the Cowboys in Chicago taking on the winless Bears. Let's go ahead and preview this bad boy, brought to you by SeatGeek as well as Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And Broaddus, we will have Trayvon Diggs playing in the secondary today. That's good. No Clowney, and of course no Cooper Beebe, and still no Deron Bland. But the Bears defensively are kind of a mash unit right now.
Yeah, they're very, very banged up, hurt, secondary wise, linebacker wise. Don't get great pass rush. So yeah, it kind of plays into both teams defensively. I think the Bears have got good skill players. I think they've got a quarterback that's capable of making big plays. Just hasn't done it yet. And so Dallas has got to be very aware of his ability to run and keep the pressure on him throughout this game, but be mindful of him potentially taking off. Don't turn your back away and then all of a sudden allow him on 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 to get first downs. That's really one of my biggest fears going into this game for the Dallas Cowboys defensively.
Okay, very good. Now, when it comes to the Cowboys on offense, no Cooper Beebe. You have Brock Hoffman.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't affect things too much, especially there in the run game. But attacking this Bears defense, how would you approach it?
Yeah, I think there's a couple different ways you could go. I do feel like you could run on them, especially on the outside. I don't feel like that they handle things off the edge particularly well. I could see the double teams, the pulling, the trapping, things that we've seen the Cowboys get pretty good at in these first couple of games, when it came to running the football. A lot of movement, a lot of down blocks, double teams, things like that. Throwing the football, Dak Prescott in play action has been flawless. So there's going to be some opportunities with these Cowboy receivers and tight ends to be able to make some plays. Both teams really going to have to try and find it on defense today. Whichever one does will probably win this game.
Yeah, I mean, neither team can really get much of a pass rush. No. Neither team's secondary is to be trusted, but both offenses are capable of definitely making plays through the air.
Dallas's offense looks better right now than what the Bears do.
Yes.
But we said the same thing about the Giants last week.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the Bears offensively, they're the best in the league on that first possession, those scripted plays, and then it totally gets away from them. They can't run the football, and Caleb Williams is just kind of up and down.
Yeah.
And he's definitely not the same quarterback when you can pressure him. The question is, can the Cowboys find a way to get some pressure? Would you like to see Eberflus blitz a little bit more in this game?
Yeah, he's going to have to do something, but I say the blitz, make sure if you blitz, you get home and you tackle. Don't get up there and then all of a sudden you have blitzers like we saw in Philadelphia, and all of a sudden Hurts runs by your blitzers and now he's running out the gate. Blitzers mean man coverage. So, if that's the case, make sure those blitzers get home. Make sure those blitzers are able to tackle in the pocket.
And it's an Eberflus revenge game, right? He's got to have something up his sleeve for old Caleb Williams. He doesn't want to lose to Caleb.
I would hope. But it might be a revenge game. Like Ben Johnson beat you up pretty good last year at Detroit. So
that's true, man.
There's a lot of – but Ben Johnson, he's got capable skill players. He really does. He just has a quarterback that's not very accurate right now.
All right, let's see. We are now 50 minutes to kick off. Cowboys and Bears. Let's get you the Coach's Corner. Voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, talking with head coach Brian Schottenheimer. That's coming up next. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. All right, we're under 45 minutes to kick off here on the official pregame party of America's team here live on the Dallas Cowboys radio network. Let's go out to Chicago and get you today's Coach's Corner. It's the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, standing by with head coach Bryan Shottenheimer.
Fellas, thank you very much. We're getting dangerously close to that part of the season where teams can start to differentiate who they are from who they want to be, but I don't know if we're quite there yet. If people were not following either your team or theirs every day and looked kind of from afar and thought they saw two very similar teams, how far off would that be?
Well, I think, we're both in year one of our programs. I think you're still figuring out your identity. You know what you want to be, but you've only had 2 games to prove that. And I think, focusing on us is always going to be the priority. We're going to always focus on us and taking care of our business. But we're playing a very good Bears team today, and they've got talent on both sides of the ball, weapons on offense. The quarterback's a very, very talented, thrower and player, and the running back's good. And on defense, their defensive line with Sweat and Grady Jarrett and Edmonds, the linebacker, and Byard, the safety. I mean, they've got guys, and so it's going to be a heck of a football game. And again, I think we're both trying to find ourselves, but the biggest thing today is find a way to win.
2 questions about Caleb Williams. What did you think of him coming out of school? And this is a city that has a history of broken hearts about quarterbacks. They haven't really had one to hang their head on since Sid Luckman. That's a long time. They've had a couple for a flash in the pan for a year or 2. What do you think it matters to a young quarterback about the expectations of the city and the media where he goes to play?
Well, the answer to the first question, Brad, is I think, coming out, the arm talent of Caleb jumps off the film, and you can't watch a kid throw a football and not know he's extremely talented. Then the next thing you notice is the athleticism. This guy can hurt you off the spot and above the 2.3, and he can hurt you running it and throwing it. But I think what the best thing the Bears have done is they've bought into a system and a coach in Ben Johnson and said, hey, look, for us to get the most out of Caleb Williams, let's give him a guy that knows how to coach offensive football. Let's give him a guy that's going to be around for a while. They've bought into a style, because the worst thing that happens to young quarterbacks is having to keep learning new systems and things like that. So I think they've made the right move, and again, I think he's got a very, very bright future.
I know you want to be better in every area. I'm guessing today, especially one of those areas would be really good if you could affect the quarterback more than you have the first 2 weeks. What signs do you see that might be going to happen soon?
Well, I like some of the matchups that we have up front. I think there's some areas that we can kind of take advantage of some things. But I do think we're affecting the quarterback. I think we got to get him on the ground a little bit more. And I'd honestly say the biggest thing I hope to see is better communication in the back half with our coverage group. We're better than what we showed last week, and we've worked very, very hard to try to tighten that up. So it all works together, team defense, all 11 guys, but that's the most glaring thing that we're working on is the pass coverage aspect.
They would probably say the same thing, and I think Dennis Allen was quoted as saying this week, one thing that he didn't like last week was how they practiced. He could kind of tell it wasn't going to go well. How has your team practiced this week?
Been a great week. We took it easy on them on Wednesday. We did more of a walk tempo just because of the 70 minutes of violent physical football that we played against the Giants. But Thursday, great. Guys were running really good intentionality, really good work against each other. That was the 3rd down day and 2-minute day. And then yesterday was another really good day where you do some more red zone, you do some opening thoughts, things like that. And I thought the guys answered the bells both days. And I hope that leads us starting a little bit faster than we have, certainly last week.
You have seen Brock Hoffman start 9 games at center and guard, as offensive coordinator. What's your comfort level with him doing not just the physical things, but the important things about playing center that he has to do today?
Yeah, I would argue that there's no one that knows our system better and takes charge more than Brock Hoffman. I mean, this guy is a true field general. It's not just the intensity that he plays with, but this guy's got incredible vision. He's got incredible communication skills, and usually you talk injuries, you say, hey, next man up, and it's always that. But we have great confidence. I do, the team does, and Dak does, that Brock will go out there and play very well.
Have fun today.
Thanks, man. You too.
Thank you for your time. Fellas, back to you.
Thank you, Brad Sham. Today's Coach's Corner brought to you by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys. And Broaddus, what do you make of Bryan Shottenheimer through 2 weeks now? I mean, they totally had the offense ready to go in Philadelphia. Took a few drives to get going last week, but particularly offensively, man, I love what we're seeing.
Kind of hope that he went in there today or this week. I say today, but this week, and maybe when he was asking Flus about some of the personnel with the Bears, that maybe that he asked also some questions about the Cowboys' own defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are we
doing things? Are we setting guys up for success?
Well, yeah, and it's those are the things that you could walk into his office and close the door and say, hey, I was watching the film and I saw this, and I think Matt's a good dude, and I think he would not take offense to anything, but the head coach needs to dictate, what he wants to see. He needs to be able to say, hey, I want the defense played this way. I haven't worked with you before, and I'm going to give you a lot of rope, and you're going to hear me in the media talk about you, that I like what you're doing and all that, but I need you to think about this. Are we by putting guys in certain positions, are we actually getting the best out of that, out of those players? And if his answers aren't good, then I'm going to say, well, hey, Matt, we need to think about this going forward. If Babe was talking about playing a bunch of zone coverage today and all that, and fine and dandy, but if it's going to play zone coverage and allowing free access to these receivers, you're going to have what happened to you last week in this football game with the ball going down the field. Now, whether they can complete them or not is a whole nother thing. But Russell Wilson wasn't, the last couple of years, who had Russell Wilson for a 450-yard passing game? You just don't want.
Not many of us.
Yeah, you don't want this quarterback all of a sudden finding it, and you're encouraging him to play this way. I would hope that maybe Matt had some words and said, hey, listen, let's think about this a little bit different way.
All right, we're 37 minutes to kick off. Let's go ahead and get to know the enemy and see what these Bears have cooked up for us today. That's coming up next. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
This is the Dallas Cowboys pregame show, brought to you by
Alleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Arrow Exterminators, official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
All right, Broaddus, let's get to know the enemy, brought to you by Arrow Exterminators, the official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. And your biggest concern about stopping the Bears today involves Caleb Williams and using his legs to scramble.
I do.
And the Cowboys have allowed the most scrambling yards through 2 weeks at 78.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams had 27 in the first game, 58 last week. I'm surprised that his over-under for rushing yards is sitting there at 27.5.
Yeah, I think that I think you might see that in the first drive. You know, really,
they're the best first drive offense in the league.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. This one, and that part of it, and it's just the way he plays. I mean, it's just his ability to, he's so used to getting out of the pocket now. He's dealt with so many, with pressure and offensive line being poor.
His natural instinct is to play off script.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's absolutely he throws off script, he throws off platform. All those things are things that he does, but his ability to take the ball and just run with it. He's had 9 scrambles, 6 first downs. Those are the kinds of things that all of a sudden you've got him in a situation where it's 3rd and 9, and they're in it a lot. 3rd and 9, they're in that a lot. And all of a sudden, 3rd and 9, and boom, he takes off running. And that's going to be the problem.
All right, now let's go ahead and get the Bryan Broaddus Zebra Report, brought to you by Yeti, the official cooler of the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Yeah, we've got Clay Martin working this week for you. And Cowboys are 5-0 with Clay Martin as your official. So keep an eye on that.
I'll take that.
Keep an eye on that. Clay Martin he's refereed. This will be his 3rd game. He had the Commanders-Giants game in week 1, 18 penalties for 124. Then he had the Vegas Raiders and the Chargers in week 2, 11 penalties for 80 yards, where you have to worry about with Clay Martin. And he is his number one calls so far this year have been the offensive holding calls. False start would be the next most. Defensive holding is 3rd. Unnecessary roughness. We talked with Dean Blandy. That seems like something that all the officials are working on right now. The offensive offsides penalty, that's lining up. That's just lining up right there. He's had a couple of those calls. And the defensive offsides would be next, and then illegal formation. So he's kind of one of these guys, a pre-snap guy a little bit. But where he's also, what's interesting is he's also one of these guys that has called more penalties against the home team than he has the visitors. So far, you have
all right.
Yeah, so far you have 17 against the homes and 12 against the aways. Last week we talked about with Bill Vinovich and his crew how they were really quick flagged when it came to the delay of games. Nothing like that with Clay Martin and his crew. You just have to be worried about how you line up. If you're too far back, too far up, those are the kinds of flags that those unnecessary flags, they're just self-inflicted wound flags. This guy and this crew will call those.
Yeah, hopefully we don't see as much laundry as we did last week.
No,
that got ridiculous, and most of that was on the Giants, but the Cowboys played a role in that as well.
They both had a hand in it.
Got to be more disciplined than that. All right, let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds to allow stations to identify themselves along the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
All right, we are in the midst of a 4th down, 4th and goal from the 4-yard line for the Eagles, down 26-21 to the Rams right now. $150 left in this game, 4th down with Hurts dropping back, and bang, what does he do? He finds Devontae Smith for the touchdown. The go-ahead touchdown. Yeah, still plenty of time.
Yeah.
Minute 48 for Stafford and the Rams to get something going here. They'll have one timeout. this has been a heck of a game. The Rams got out to an early, huge lead, and then the second half, it's basically been all filthy.
Well, unfortunately for the Rams, they had a missed field goal. They did a great job. The Rams, Sean McVay went for it on 4th down at midfield. The Rams were able to play defense and then got into field goal range, but then they had the blocked field goal as well. It looks like that Nick Sirianni's trying to get his offense back on the field to go for 2 here to try and make it a 3-point game.
All right, we'll keep you posted on that. We are now 27 minutes to kick off. Let's go out to Chicago Soldier Field inside the booth with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. That's coming up next. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. All right, we're 20 minutes to kickoff here on the official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go live to Chicago Soldier Field and welcome in the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, as we go inside the booth. Brought to you by the WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Brad, happy game day, man. How you doing?
Good. It's good to be here in Chicago.
Yeah. Son of a gun. Well,
I'm listening, Eric. I'm listening.
You are. Are you ready? Is that voice ready to call a bunch of touchdowns today, Brad?
No, I'm not. So, in fact, I think what I'll do is go to the booth right behind our position here and get a couple of hot dogs and an old style, because I'm not sure they're selling Miller Lite here.
No,
yes. What kind of a question is that?
Well, I just feel like this is going to be, we never know, right? But feels like this could be a good day for both offenses.
Well, I hope it's a good day for the Cowboys offense, and I think it's a question of how much pressure they can put on Caleb Williams. I really think Caleb Williams is still learning how to play quarterback. He's a phenomenally talented young man. He's a different guy. And I don't think he's completely absorbed everything about playing the position yet. If he's allowed to just dance around back there and do whatever he wants, those receivers will eat up whoever it is the Cowboys are putting out there in the secondary. Those are good receivers. But if you can put him under some duress, we'll watch his feet and describe him. I think his feet will tell you how nervous he's getting. He does not throw a lot of interceptions, which is interesting for a guy who doesn't always make good decisions. But he won't always throw it where the right place is to throw it, but it depends on how much they're able to affect it.
Brad Sham with us here on the Dallas Cowboys radio network. Were you surprised to see Mozzie Smith get the active call up?
Not necessarily. I mean, frankly, that is not on my radar. They have got to find ways to control the line of scrimmage. The radar for me is in the secondary. I mean, can they do things to contain Odunze and Moore? And, who knows? We don't, as you well know, Eric, we don't see practice during the week. So we don't know what kind of week Mozzie Smith had. Maybe he had a great week. Maybe he said, dadgummit, I'm tired of not getting a shirt. And so maybe he had a great week of practice. If so, that would be great.
Brad, really on the other end of things in the spectrum, though, Dak Prescott has been outstanding these first couple of weeks. Kind of pick your poison. I think the Bears give up rushing yards, but they also allow passing plays. Which way are you going with Dak today?
Whichever way he wants to go, because I trust him. He's playing really, really well. Bears have given up more touchdown passes through the first 2 weeks than any other team. But fair enough, they played the Lions last week, who hung 100 on them. So this is why Babe and I have said to each other and publicly for years, we look at the league stats, we look at everybody's statistics, but we don't really pay any attention to them until about 4 games in, because you can't really tell. The sample size is too small. But, Bryan, I trust Prescott, and they'd like to run the ball. If they can run it, they can throw it when they want to throw it. And then when they do throw it, they've got the Bears' secondary may be in worse shape than the Cowboys.
Sure.
I mean, it is the bellhops against the 7-Eleven workers. That's kind of what we're down to for both teams. And so it really depends on what happens in front of them. But if the Cowboys don't communicate better and do whatever it was they were doing poorly with the scheme last week, I don't know. Whatever it was, if they don't fix that, then it won't matter, because I'll tell you, Odunze and the rest of those guys will hurt them.
Well, Brad, enjoy the game, man. Thanks for the time.
Okay, Eric, thank you.
Yes, sir. There he goes, voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. Now on to the Bermuda grass of Soldier Field. We welcome in Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales for her keys to the game, brought to you by Pollock Aurora, proud supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. All right, Diggs is active. What do we think? I mean, is he going to be on a bit of a pitch count?
Yeah, that's the thing. They'll see how he feels. He did play 61 snaps last week, but Triquez Bridges acquired off waivers from the Chargers will be ready to spell Trayvon if they need to go in. So, yeah, I think it's which, as Brad alluded to, which of these secondaries is going to best hold up today, because they've both been pounded by injuries. The Bears are without 3 of their top 4 corners, and their outside guy, Jalen Johnson, he's a 2-time Pro Bowler, and then Kyler Gordon, their nickel corner, he's out, just like Deron Bland is out for the Cowboys, and allowing the league-high 7 passing touchdowns. I think you're right. This could be a high-scoring game. The Cowboys have trended positively in some really key areas, and one is third down conversions on offense, best in the league at over 52%. And the other thing they've improved on this year is their red zone offense, right? 83% of their trips they've scored touchdowns, so that's a strength for the Cowboys, a major weakness for the Bears defense. They're allowing touchdowns on 80% of trips by opponents. So strength versus weakness, exploit those matchups against the injury-ravaged secondary of the Bears. And for both teams, pass rush, I agree, is such a key, because when you have trouble getting to the quarterback, you have trouble creating turnovers, and that's the way it's been for both of these defenses the first 2 weeks. So which of these teams can get a takeaway today, and which of these two defensive backfields that were torched last week, and gave up too many explosive plays, can limit those explosive plays? So that's the key today, is affect the quarterback. The other thing is these two teams are two of the most highly penalized teams in the league, and so if the Cowboys can avoid shooting themselves in the foot this week with self-inflicted injuries, particularly with these penalties, that'll bode well for the Cowboys.
Christy, you're the best. Thanks for the time. Enjoy the game. We'll be listening.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Bryan.
All right, Broaddus, what's your prediction here? I'm going Cowboys 33, Bears 30.
I went Cowboys 35, Bears 30 in myself. I think it's going to be a really high-scoring game. Could be completely wrong, but I think both defenses will be under attack.
I love it. All right, kickoff is around the corner with Brad, Babe, and Christy. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.